Star Trek Strange New World, Season 2, Episode 10, Hegemony. It was the Season 2 finale to a 10-episode season. I sure wish someday we could go back to 24 episodes a season.
So much of this season was spent, just talking about characters and everything else. We didn't really get a lot of time to really get into a meaty story or anything like that.
Yeah, they started episode 1, be like, oh, well, the Gorn are amassing on the border. We might be on the brink of another war, never to be mentioned again until the last episode. Which is fine, right? I like it worked last time. I mean, they had some overarching themes, but for the most part, it was standalone episodes. They tried to do that again this season. It worked out sometimes.
I don't think that they really had much faith in the show in the first season, in all honesty, from what I could see. Like, I think that they weren't sure if it was going to succeed or not. So they spent the first season pretty much just telling, like, standalone stories, which were, for the most part, pretty good. And when they actually realized that people were accepting of this storytelling, like, oh, well, we should actually try and flesh out these characters and figure it out so that way we can set up for a long run of it. And so this ended up feeling more like a first season to the show than the first season did, if that makes any sense. And since we're already kind of invested in the characters and the story and the setting of what is going on, it kind of felt like it was slowing down a lot more often than it needed to.
Yeah, no, they were taking the time to introduce the characters and get into their backstories, and so you can learn a little bit more about them. I definitely got that sense as well. It was a 10-episode pilot to say, like, is this what you want? Like, we thought you wanted a bunch of drama and crying and, complete departures from what you would consider Star Trek, and we tried that with Discovery, and you don't seem to like that, or at least most people don't, so maybe this, which is a return to form.
You guys like this, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let's spend some time actually fleshing out these characters so that way we can, try to get 6 or 7 seasons out of this.
Which shows you the absolute disconnect. I mean, that kind of angers me a little bit, right? It shows the complete disconnect of, like, well, we want to write the show that we want to write, and you will like it. Oh, crap, nobody liked it. What do we do? Well, maybe we could give them what they've been asking for. I don't know if that's going to work, but we'll give it a shot.
Oh, they're responding to it.
I guess we got to make an actual show.
But that's just the thing, is that, like, this new Trek really hasn't had a flagship yet. I feel like everything that has been out has been them trying. Like, they wanted Discovery to be their flagship, but it's not, because it's terrible. And Picard,
universally terrible.
Yes, Picard stumbled a lot. It kind of found its footing in its last season. It was watchable, at least. And then, everything else is just purposely, like, Lower Decks and Prodigy. That's all side shit. So they really haven't had a flagship show yet, like, one that everyone, like, goes to. And I don't know if this is going to be it, or if they're going to, because Discovery, I think, is ending this season that's coming up.
And it's like, again, I don't want to see the same thing over and over again. I mean, sometimes I do, like, at least in theme, but at the same time, if you're going to do that, if you're going to be bold enough to be like, we think we can write better Star Trek, right? Because I would hope that that's the intent, is that each story you create is, you're intending for that to either compare and or be better than what came before it. And so if that's your idea of this is better than what came before, then, it's swing and a miss. But it has to work as a theme, and it can't just be somber. And not everybody needs, like, this tragic backstory. It's like, and I don't get that. I don't know if that's just like, well, millennials come from broken homes, so every single character needs a broken home story, and that's how they'll relate, and then they'll like the show. But we're getting off topic for sure. I know you don't have a lot of time, but as far as Hegemony, episode 10, what are your thoughts? Actually, so recap, right? We should probably do that first. It's, the Gorn are back. So the Gorn are back. They, Pike's girlfriend is on the planet doing a survey or doing vaccines or something.
And she gets braggers.
Oh, yeah. We're expecting with little Gorn babies that are going to eat me from the inside out. Grand reveal. So the Gorn come in, they invade this planet, kill pretty much everybody. Some people escape. The Enterprise comes in, I think defying orders. Or no, they come in to investigate, and then they, the Gorn are there to meet them. And it's clear that the ship, his girlfriend's ship has been destroyed. And they're like, uh-oh, what happened? What are we going to do? Are there any survivors? Nurse Chapel is the only one apparently to survive on the ship out of hundreds of people. That is insanely convenient plotting right there.
Well, I think I guess, most of the people that were on the ground were the colonists. So pretty much their entire crew got killed in that attack. But from seeing the wreckage, it makes sense. But yeah, you're right. The fact that only Nurse Chapel survived because she has infinite plot armor because, she's in the future. But
infinite plot armor.
She can't die. I mean, like, you see her in the original series, so she's alive.
I know, but, at least it could have been, a group of survivors, and then they have to, as they're fighting their way through trying to figure out what's going on, the Gorn that's on the ship.
That mechanized Gorn in their, spacesuit, that was pretty badass. I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but...
No, I mean, I think it's fine. I don't, no particular order. The bottom line is, in summation, there's a Gorn on the ship, for some reason, hacking stuff or trying to hack stuff. There's Gorn on the planet, little younglings that are still hunting down the survivors. Pike sends a team down there as debris because their Starfleet Booker's some sort of treaty demarcation line that says we cannot go past this point, or treaty. Or did I say treaty / truce to say we can't go past this line. So then they still want to get down there, so they find a way past the Gorn sensors.
That part bothered me. Because how they drew the line, where
where the planet is.
The planet, planets do rotate around their stars. Whatever lines you're drawing make
it's
no
stationary.
Sense. Right? It just as soon as at any given second that planet is furthering its move around the stars, so it's already outdated. So I mean, maybe if you get unlucky and the planet's rotating away from that line, you're kind of screwed. But otherwise, just wait for it to rotate back into the blue territory, and then you're good to go.
Also, you don't live in a 3D space, right? This line right here, is it a sphere? What kind of line?
Yeah, that's a good point. I want to see once two ships show up and they're in completely different orientations. One's straight on and the other one's at a right angle to I think that ship.
Didn't the Orville do that where one ship comes in and the other one's at a weird angle, and then he's like, can you flip around? That's not how this supposed to go.
Yeah, I think.
or lower. It seems like a lower decks or orbital thing that they would do, but or how they're not perfectly centered on the screen.
Right. And walking to the left a little.
No, space has a definite up. All right, that's how it works.
Yes,
there's an up and there's a down. Yeah. So long story short, they save the girlfriend. She's infected with Gorn babies. Are pregnant.
Around on Pike.
Yeah. I mean, he's a beta now.
Yeah.
And then Scotty features in this episode for some reason.
I was actually excited. I didn't know that was going to happen in the episode. I didn't really look at any production thing or anything ahead of time, so that was a fun thing to see.
Yeah, I mean they are. I mean, you would assume that these people are drifting around in Starfleet, so it's just very convenient, again, plot wise, that he would be there out of the thousands of people that are in Starfleet. But
well, we really don't know when.
Yeah, we don't know anything about, because they didn't. It's not like they touched on anyone's backstory in the original series,
right? I mean, like Scotty or Chekhov, any of them could have been on the ship, well past or well before Kirk took over the ship. So, I mean, by next season, we could have Scotty, we could have Chekhov. I mean,
they gradually trickle onto the ship. Yeah, no, I mean, makes sense. So Spock goes on to the saucer section, saves Chapel unknowingly that she's there, but meets up with her, has a little tussle with a Gorn on the ship, and then they plant some rockets and fire the saucer section at the thing that's jamming all of their transporters and whatever else. That's the other. Actually, I forgot to mention that. So in this, they've landed some sort of jamming tower that is preventing all communication and all transporting, so they can't just fly by and transport the people off the surface. But as they make it back to the ship, they go and try to beam out more survivors, and they're not there. Turns out the Gorn abducted them before they could. And now there's a showdown between the Enterprise and a bunch of Gorn ships warping in.
I'm just going to say, I'm pretty sure, we saw in, what was it, Into Darkness, when the ship crashed into a city. I'm pretty sure when they crashed that saucer section into that tower, it would have destroyed that entire town. Just by kinetic force alone.
Well, I think conveniently that tower just happened to be right outside of town, far enough away.
It was right outside.
No, outside. No, it was right outside of town, conveniently far enough away to where the shockwave of the impact did not impact the town at all.
Millions of tons of plasteel and everything else hitting the ground isn't going to cause devastation, in a very wide area. Oh, probably traveling at 20,000 miles per hour.
When the Gorn land these jamming towers, they actually take that into account. I'd be like, if someone were to ram a Constitution-class saucer into this, how far would we have to place it away that the shockwave wouldn't hit this town? See, they're playing 3D chess here, right? They left the saucer section there to be thrown into the jamming tower. And then they had to appropriately put that jamming tower just outside of town, far enough away to where if someone did ram it in there, that the shockwave wouldn't impact the town. It's all coming together. I mean, you could see this.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. And then there's the dramatic to be continued pause where the Enterprise is getting fired on. They're being told by Starfleet to withdraw, and Pike is kind of seizing up at the moment with a decision, and everyone's just like, what do we do? And then it ends. So Nurse Chapel's back. Pike's girlfriend is back and impregnated in stasis. And no, actually not everybody. Ortegas, La'an, and Mbenga were all abducted along with the colonists.
That's right.
I think
you're right, because I was going to say, there's got to be some kind of reason for Pike to care about this. Because, I mean, if it's 100 random no-names, who gives a shit, Leave orbit and no one knows their name. Who cares?
Oh, I don't think he would. I don't I don't know these people. I'm out. Yeah,
right.
Break away. No, I don't think that's the case. I still don't think that even if he didn't, even if there were no Starfleet personnel still there, he wouldn't.
Come on, dude. I don't know. What the fuck? They don't matter. Come on.
Well, I don't know who those people are. Their fault for settling outside of Federation space, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
So for me, I had to go back and watch the original series Gorn episode because I'm like, what does the actual canon say about this situation? And they always play fast and loose with TOS. I mean, it's clear in the TOS season episode that no one on the ship knows what a Gorn is.
Right.
And they've never heard of it, which is, again, odd because Spock would have been there and be like, oh, this is just like that one time I had to go see it, and I had to fight one, But anyways, I'm willing to step over that. And so likewise, that episode, though, if you ever go back and watch that, it's called The Arena in season 1. Man, Kirk comes off as this bloodthirsty, because it's this kind of similar situation where the Gorn come through, they wipe out a colony, Kirk beams down, notices that things are all wrecked, everyone's dead, and then pretty much informs the Enterprise you need to get these bastards, we need to kill them, chase them down. And then Spock's sitting there maybe there's something else at play here, and he's like, no, we need to make them pay for what they've done.
I will make them.
They invade our space. No, it's insane. The first 15 minutes, it gets a little bit more highbrow after that when it's just it starts treading on that oh, so we were the invaders all along and they were just protecting their territory. Or they saw us as the invaders. There's a whole, and then it goes on a tangent with these aliens called the Metrons, and they pit the captains of the Gorn ship and Kirk against each other. And the saving grace is that Kirk decides not to kill the captain when he's incapacitated him. And I'm like, yeah, I guess for the 1960s, that would be
Right.
that would be like, because he's incapacitated, he's not fighting back, and he's just like, all right, now I gotta kill him. And he's like ready to drive this like rock into his chest. And he's like, wait a minute. And then the turnaround on there is like, oh, you decided not to kill a defenseless person. You must be an evolving society. There's potential here. And I'm like, how 1960s of a, I gotta kill him. I'll kill him and I'll destroy his ship. Like, his vengeance for this colony that he's never been to, it's just off the charts. And it really is. Like, I highly recommend going back and watching it, because and see if you get the same impression. Because I'm like, yo, he is like over the top, like bloodthirsty right now. Anyways, what'd you think? How'd you like it?
I mean, overall, I thought it was a good episode. I mean, it had those horror elements that I always love to see pop up in Star Trek episodes. Like, it really did feel like, I mean, the Gorn are basically xenomorphs from Alien.
Yeah.
I mean, in essence, that's what they are now. And it felt like a scary situation. Like, it felt like something that would happen, like, if you were like on the fringes of space and you were going to be a colony out there, then, these are some of the risks that you have. Like, we did see that in several other, Trek series over time, but I thought the episode was well paced. I thought that the stakes felt real. It felt like we got a little bit of fan service. We got to see Scotty come out and that kind of stuff. But I'd say leaving it as a cliffhanger was kind of a strange choice overall.
Not uncommon for a season finale, though. And
I don't know.
Even Next Generation, I think.
Just didn't feel like it was as earned as like the best of both worlds. Like, yeah, we knew about the Gorn last season, and we saw them, heard about them again at the beginning of this season as a threat. But the Gorn don't really seem any more of a threat to the Federation than, I don't know, the Cardassians or the Breen. They're there, and they're a force to be reckoned with, but they're not like something that's going to be able to take on the Federation.
No, not at scale.